For millions around the world, the Harry Potter series was more than a story, it was a rite of passage. From the cupboard under the stairs to the Battle of Hogwarts, it's been a cultural pillar for over 2 decades. But as I revisit the series in adulthood, books I once clutched with childlike awe, I find myself wishing for one major change. Not in the plot, not in the characters' fates, but in its fundamental message. I need the Harry Potter series to challenge systems, not just individuals. At its core, the Harry Potter saga is a classic good versus evil tale, and a compelling one. But beyond Voldemort's snake-like menace lies a far more insidious enemy, the system itself. The Ministry of Magic is rife with corruption, incompetence, and casual cruelty. Hogwarts, for all its wonder, is plagued by outdated traditions and questionable teaching methods. House-elves are enslaved, goblins are marginalized, and magical beings are stereotyped. And yet, in the end, the system is largely preserved. This is where my discomfort lies. After Voldemort's fall, we're told things get better. But what does better look like? Kingsley Shacklebolt takes over the ministry and reforms are vaguely implied, but there's no sense of systemic reckoning. There's no Truth Commission, no House-Elf Liberation Act, no real attempt to tear down and rebuild the institutions that enabled evil to flourish in the first place. It's as if defeating one tyrant automatically solves centuries of oppression. This resolution reflects a broader cultural tendency in storytelling. The idea that evil is an individual rather than institutional problem. Defeat the villain and the world is saved. But we know that's not how real life works. Tyrants rise in the cracks of broken systems, corruption thrives in silence, and unless we confront the root causes, the traditions, biases, and structures that allow injustice to fester, we're just setting the stage for the next Dark Lord. Imagine instead a version of Harry Potter where systemic change is part of the endgame. What if, in the aftermath of Voldemort's defeat, Harry doesn't become an Auror and slot neatly into the same flawed ministry, but instead works to dismantle and reimagine it? What if Hermione uses her power not just to protect the status quo, but to challenge it? She always cared deeply about house-elf rights. What if that subplot didn't fizzle out in a joke but became a revolution? The characters we grew up loving are brave, brilliant, and morally driven, but they're often too willing to operate within the confines of the world as it is, rather than question why the world is the way it is. Dumbledore, for all his wisdom, plays dangerous games with children's lives. Hogwarts sorts 11-year-olds into lifelong labels and rarely reevaluates. And the treatment of magical creatures, from centaurs to goblins, echoes real-world racism and classism, yet goes largely unaddressed. It's not about making the series grimmer or more adult. It's about making it more honest. Children's literature doesn't need to avoid complexity, it needs to embrace it. Kids can handle stories that question authority, that show heroes not just fighting bad guys but confronting unfair systems. In fact, they need those stories now more than ever. The magic of Harry Potter is undeniable. It introduced generations to the joy of reading and built a fandom that spans continents. But as that fandom matures, it's worth asking more of the world we once worshipped. It's time to move beyond nostalgia and into critical love, a love that says, "You mattered to me then, and I want you to grow with me now." J.K. Rowling gave us a world full of spells and secrets, friendships, and fears. But in that world, the real enemy was never just Voldemort, it was the complacency, prejudice, and bureaucracy that let him rise. If the series ever gets a true reboot, a television remake, a modern adaptation, let's hope it doesn't just recast the faces but rewrites the foundation. Because I don't just want Harry to win, I want him, and all of us, to learn how to change the world for real.